Nathan, I want to ask you, are the Muslims being continuously targeted through the hijab, through the Azaan debate, through the meat sale order? That is the charge that has been made by Lokesh Jindal. How do you see it?
Good evening. Honestly, one day I wrote a book that despite preaching bigotry, misogyny and extreme violence is revered by millions who, while loving its content, would exhibit a profound persecution complex and accuse readers and authors of other books as being bigoted, misogynist and violent. मेरी समझ में नहीं आता, as you said, victim card बाहर निकल आता है. But that is the price, that is the cost you have to pay for secularism, Navika, in this country. You can only be paid by victim card. और वो खट से ऐसे निकल के आता है. You know it as well as I do. There are two issues here. Number one, and my good friend Shahzad has already mentioned most of them on the first issue, that time after time, Indian court, Supreme Court, High Court, every court has adjudicated that loudspeaker is not essential. Number two, loudspeaker should not be used for religious reasons. What is the problem here? I don't understand. How is this persecution of one religious community when it is across the board banned? Number two, Saudi Arabia bans it. An Islamic country, not only an Islamic country, an extremely Islamic country. They have banned loud amplification of Azaan, as correctly put by Shahzad. Number two, I have to also say this out here and maybe address the elephant in the room here, Navika, and that is the crux, nub of the issue. As Ambedkar said it, no one more than Ambedkar knew or understood what religions are. He said, and I quote, "For Muslims, the basic feelings of deference and sympathy which predispose persons to obey the authority of government do not simply exist," unquote. Now let me say this, also important, but maybe you can say politically incorrect, but someone has to say it, Navika. I will bear the cross. More important than how you say is what you say. I don't care whether you are bleating it out of a loudspeaker or you're whispering. What are you saying? What you are saying is, and let me repeat it, no one has the right to be worshipped but Allah, 4062. That is the crux of Adhan or Azan. Now, is that not bigoted or discriminatory? If tomorrow I start preaching from Hindu temple saying no one has the right to be worshipped except Shiva or Lakshmana, would the police not knock at my doorstep? But we accept this. Why? Because secularism, and the price of secularism has to be paid by this victim card.
Well,
very important investigation. Those videos are a matter of record now, and I hope they'll be taken up by the investigative agencies. And I must say, I must confess, it's a bit embarrassing for me because just yesterday, that if at all at any point you are angry with our police force, please remember this name, Netresh Sharma, Constable Netresh Sharma. And it's embarrassing because Constable Netresh Sharma is the same person from the same Rajasthan police force
that actually saved an infant's life. He risked his own. He sprang up and went through the fire and caught hold of this infant and saved him. And now we are having to see this kind of really lumpenism. There is no other word to describe it in the Rajasthan police and the Congress. But Navika, to come back to the main thesis, you have to understand the Congress psyche. For them, everything has become the proverbial big tree and they want to make it fall. They want the earth to shake again, Navika. Their hatred for Modi has transmogrified into hatred for India now. Tell me, how on earth is Modi responsible for these riots? How is he responsible for maintaining law and order in Rajasthan, as claimed by Ashok Gehlot? But these are not isolated. Incidentally, before I come to give you real facts, let me also show you this. This is data not from a government agency, but collected from NCRB data by Brookings Institute by Mudit Kapoor and Dr. Shamika Ravi. It shows, you can clearly see that from a peak of 100,000 riots every year in the 1980s, the number of riots has come down to 50,000 a year. It used to be between 2005 and 2015 when Congress was ruling. You can see that camel hump and that rise. So Sanjay Jha, as is his norm, is completely devoid of facts. Now let me give the real incidents. Let me give you the real incidents. Remember Congress leader Pradeep Manjhi? He was caught red-handed 2 years ago inciting riots in Odisha in the wake of a rape case. I quote him, "Keep diesel and petrol ready. Once you get directions, set everything on fire," unquote. Remember Congress leader Shakuntala Khatik? caught red-handed in June 2017 ordering a mob to burn down a police station in Mandsaur? Was it their leader Shiroj Jivan who said during Hathras, and I quote him, two people should die from each side. A leader should die or some common man should die. Rahul Gandhi will come to the scene only after bullets start flying, unquote. Or remember Jagdish Tytler in 2012 when he was in charge of Odisha? Jalao, halla bolo, tod do, unquote. And we aren't even talking of hundreds of communal riots, including 1969 to 1984, instigated by Congress. Look, this is not just a Congress thing, I know that. Every political party indulges in stoking riots. 29% of our Lok Sabha MPs and 12% of Rajya Sabha MPs cutting across parties are facing serious criminal charges of rioting. But the Congress takes the cake because the image they project of being holier than thou, they know this. And yet they want India to burn. Navika, it is a Kafkaesque dream of scorching the earth and then emerging from a cave to rule it. So like a self-obsessed Pied Piper, they are leading mice and men to the cliff edge. Their army is marching in step and ominously like Jinnah's was. But there's a difference. Navika, just 10 seconds. While Jinnah, who said we will either have a divided India or a destroyed India, manage the former, Congress is intent upon managing the latter.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan is willing to fill you in.
Well, the
Yes,
real
thank you. I
truth
hope-
of this is what we need to find out. Sorry, Anand.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. No, Navika, it has always been happening. I gave you a lowdown of the list of the number of communal riots that were happening in India since 1950s. We've actually come down to 50,000 per year now. It used to be 1 lakh per year, more than that. And what constitutes a communal riot? It's not Hindus fighting Hindus. For a very limited period of time, it was Hindus fighting Sikhs or something like that, but mostly it's been Hindu-Muslim. So Sanjay is yet again wrong. This Hindu-Muslim thing is not a century old. It is more than a millennia old, and it is going to continue. You read what Tagore said, you read what Ambedkar said. I'm not saying all these things. You may call me a bigot. Secondly, Navika, can I also have castigated all the three on your panel? So only you are left out. Can I also please castigate you now
Do so.
in the spirit of equanimity?
I'm in the gallows tonight.
Okay, because you mentioned Zakir Naik. Now, he's a hero for me. I take strong objection to putting blame on Zakir Naik for what happened yesterday with that gentleman who brought out a machete and charged at the Gorakhnath temple, because Zakir Naik is not guilty of radicalizing Muslim youth. He doesn't preach hate. He has been made a convenient scapegoat by Muslims and, pardon me, you, who are Islamophobic. That is, they fear Islam. They fear to bring out the orders and the commandments of their holy book in their entirety because they fear being called illiberal and hypocrites. They snare the fundamentalists but spare the fundamentals. Zakir is unapologetic about the fundamentals. Stopping Naik from quoting what is written in the holy book is like preventing me from quoting what is written in Darwin's Origin of Species. We are the medium, Navika, not the origin. How are we guilty? When Naik says, those who abuse Allah and His Messenger, Allah has cursed them in this world and the hereafter and prepared for them a humiliating punishment. He's only quoting chapter 33, verse 57. When he says that a caste chronicling Hindu journalist, even though he is Muslim friendly, will still go to hell. He's only quoting 2198. So are you telling me Zakir is preaching hate because he's quoting hate? Then have the guts to say so. Actually, Navika, please don't. Because you know, गुस्ताखे डैश डैश की एक ही सजा सर तन से जुदा.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Kapil Madan. Come on, let's be fair. Let's be fair. It's his turn.
And an advocate.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought it's for me. I am sorry, Anand.
नाविका, गंगा कसम, कल से मैं लाउड स्पीकर लाने वाला हूं. जैसे ही मेरी बारी आती है सब लोग बोलना शुरू कर देते हैं, अरे भाई मैं आनंद रंगनाथन हूं, मैं मुझे मत तोड़ो. But Navika, I am tired of asking questions because nobody responds. So let me ask rhetorical questions, meaning that I will ask the question and I myself will answer the question also. So here are the 4 quotes that will make doodh ka doodh and pani ka pani. Quote, who said, keep diesel and petrol ready. Once you get directions, set everything on fire, unquote. Who was caught red-handed in June 2017 ordering a mob saying burn down a police station in Mandsaur? Third, who said 2 people should die from each side? A leader should die or some common man should die. Rahul Gandhi will come to the scene only when bullets start flying, unquote. And finally, who said, Jalao, halla bolo, Tod do isko, tod do, unquote. Now let me respond because the two Congress friends of mine are not going to answer even though they know the answers. The first quote was by Congress leader Pradap Manji. The second one was by Shakuntala Khatik. The third one was by Shivraj Jivon. And the fourth one was by Jagdish Titler. Forget about Makloob Ahmed. Can you please tell me, Mr. Kapil Madan and Mr. Jindal, are these four leaders who said these quotes, are they still in Congress or not?